You did everything right. You saved for years. You stayed disciplined. You built the portfolio the way you were told to build it. On paper, it looks perfect. Then retirement starts, and the market drops early. And suddenly, the problem is not the size of the portfolio. It is the timing of the damage. That is the mistake most people miss. The portfolio was not weak. It was hit at the wrong moment. This is not a market problem. This is not a diversification problem. This is a sequencing problem. And today, inside the blueprint room, we are running a forensic audit on the flaw that can collapse a perfect retirement plan. I am the yield architect. This is briefing 19, load sequencing failure. In engineering, timing matters. A structure can be strong and still fail if the load arrives the wrong way at the wrong time against the wrong point. That is load sequencing. The same thing happens in retirement. You stop working. You start withdrawing. And now the portfolio is no longer just growing. It is being used. That changes everything. If the market drops early in retirement, you are forced to sell assets while they are down. That means fewer shares remain in the portfolio. And when the market eventually recovers, there are fewer units left to benefit from that recovery. Same portfolio, same market crash. Different timing, completely different result. That is sequence of returns risk. And it is one of the most dangerous design flaws in retirement planning. If this is already changing how you see retirement, tap like and stay with me. Let's make it concrete. 2 investors. Both retire with $500,000. Both withdraw $20,000 per year. Both experience the same long-term average return. But investor 1 retires into good early years. The portfolio grows first. Then the bad year comes later. By that point, the structure has already had time to build a cushion. Investor 2 retires into a bad early year. The crash hits first. The withdrawals continue. The portfolio is forced to liquidate at the worst possible time. Same numbers, same average, same plan on paper. Very different outcome in real life. That is why averages can be misleading. A retirement plan does not live on averages. It lives on sequence. And sequence can make the same portfolio survive one retirement path and fail another. This is where many retirement models go wrong. They look at average return and assume that is enough. They run a projection. They show a neat line. They call it a stress test. But a real stress test asks a different question. What if the worst years come first? What if the market drops right when withdrawals begin? What if the portfolio loses units before recovery has a chance to work? That is the test that matters. Because a plan built on averages can still fail under sequence pressure. It looks strong until the wrong order of events exposes the weakness. That is why so many people do not discover the flaw right away. They discover it in year 3, or year 4, or year 5. By then, the damage is already structural. If you are within 10 years of retirement, this briefing matters even more. Keep watching. The retrofit has 3 parts. First, the sequence buffer. Keep 2 to 3 years of living expenses in cash or short-term fixed income. When the market drops, draw from the buffer. Do not force the portfolio to carry the load immediately. That buffer is not dead money. It is load-bearing reserve. Second, the variable withdrawal protocol. Build flexibility into spending before retirement starts. In down years, reduce discretionary spending. That way, you are not forced to sell damaged assets at the worst possible time. Third, the red zone allocation. The 5 years before and after retirement are the most dangerous part of the sequence. That is when your exposure matters most. If your allocation is still highly aggressive during that window, you are taking more sequence risk than your structure can absorb. These 3 changes do not remove market risk. They make the system survivable when the timing turns against you. Now look at the same investor again. Same $500,000, same withdrawal, same market crash. But this time there is a buffer in place. Year 1 drops. The buffer absorbs the loss. The portfolio is left alone. Year 2 still looks rough. The buffer keeps doing its job. Then recovery arrives. And because the portfolio was not forced to bleed during the worst years, it still has enough structure left to recover properly. That is the difference. The crash did not disappear. The timing did not improve. The portfolio was simply engineered to survive the wrong sequence. That is what real planning does. It does not pretend the storm will not come. It builds so the storm does not break the structure. A perfect portfolio can still fail if the retirement date is wrong. That is why sequence risk matters. Not because it is scary, because it is real. And if you do not plan for it, the market will teach you. Here is your site report. Finding 1. Identify your retirement red zone. The 5 years before and 5 years after your target retirement date are the most fragile period in the entire plan. Finding 2. Build a sequence buffer. 2 to 3 years of living expenses in reserve can stop a market drop from becoming a retirement failure. Finding 3. Add withdrawal flexibility. A plan with no downside adjustment is a plan with no structural margin. Finding 4. Review your allocation before retirement. If you are still very aggressive near retirement, you are carrying too much sequence exposure. Finding 5. Run your plan through bad timing, not just good averages. That is the test that tells the truth. The link to the 30-year stress test is in the description. Subscribe to the Blueprint Room for the next briefing. Build for timing. Build for load. Build to last. Class dismissed.